Welcome to KonKon's Cantina. Grab a drink, sit back, and relax.
We back. The loudest of We back. What's up, everybody?
I'm excited. 1 week, we're almost here.
1 week. That is right. 1 week.
Can't wait.
Dude, it is your boy. It's KonKon.
Who says that it's my boy? I mean, you've said this a lot of times. How do we know that you're my boy?
Everybody. For everything I've ever done for you, you know I'm your boy. And of course, first, okay, we're attacking so soon. We're attacking so soon. Who's calling you Jay Breezy?
Nobody.
Actually, I call you Jay Breezy. I think I've called you that a lot.
Jarvis Arvin Beaker.
And of course, the man sitting across from me, the PR man himself, the man of 1,000 names, Jay
Red
Breezy.
5. Checking in.
Guys, we have a very exciting episode for you tonight. Tonight we are talking about Mandalorian a year later. So this is, technically next month will be a year, but we are literally
Close enough.
We are what, 9 days away? 8 days from Mandalorian right now? Mandalorian Season 2? The very thing that started this podcast. Guys, of course,
9 days.
we need to get into the housekeeping first. Some of those housekeeping. Spoiler warning for The Mandalorian Season 1.
And probably some surrounding stuff. I'm sure
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars-y spoilers will be all in effect.
Pretty much anything Star Wars is going to be talked about at some point, I'm sure. Guys, Patreon, thank you so much. The support and the love that we've received by just launching the Patreon has been
2 days
amazing
ago.
already. Yeah.
2 days ago, and we already are getting over half a dozen people, which
Yep.
took me by surprise that quick.
Yeah.
We've only shared it one time and on one social media platform, and it seems to be well received. Hopefully it continues that trend, because it'll allow us to do a lot more that we want to do.
Give us some of those names, Justin.
Okay, of our tiers?
Of our current
okay,
Patreons, for sure.
So, in the first 48 hours of being up, our first 6 patrons, I always want to confuse saying Patreon and patron.
Yeah.
Our first 6 patrons, we got Tyler Richter, Jonathan Kuhn, Jacob Hepp, Liz Baker, my life. Niles, of course, was our first ever patron.
Yes.
And lastly, just a few moments ago, Dylan LeBee showing some love.
Guys, thank you so much. Truly, you have no idea what it means. Obviously, we'll get into some of the tiers quickly, but if you cannot support the podcast via Patreon, totally fine. The biggest way that we grow is leaving a review wherever you find us on social media.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth. Send the links to your friends. Facebook.com/KonKon's Cantina. YouTube.com/KonKon's Cantina. Instagram, KonKon's Cantina. Twitter, KonKon's Cantina. And if you would like to work with us and this podcast, please email us at konkonscantina@gmail.com. And just real quick, some of our tiers, Justin, if you want to go over that.
We'll go over our 2 basic tiers that we have. Our monthly tiers. $3 is you're an official Cantina patron. That's $3. You get a free slap sticker, which we'll send to you. They've been shipped to us, so they are on the way. You'll have access to a special Discord channel that you'll have some exclusive voting rights, some background info on the show, a little bit of input on where we're going to go with the show and maybe some show topics. But our next tier up is the $8 tier. You get everything from tier 1. You get the slap sticker, you get the info, but you also now are hardcore invested into the show. You have an exclusive channel in our Discord, separate from the rest of the patrons, where we are going to be coming directly to you. Voting will be in effect. Possible guest spots, if somebody's really got something that they know a lot about, we're going to go to our patron members first if we're looking for info or guests to come on the show. Shout outs on the episodes. A lot of exclusive content in this tier also. Connor and I have been wanting to do movie commentary, which we've talked about on the show, but because of copyright stuff, it's never been an issue where we could just put it out widespread and not have something come back on us with a movie playing in the background. But for our patrons, we can put that stuff privately to them, and it'll be... We got a lot of stuff we want to do. Movies, TV shows. I mean, a ton of stuff, watch party style things where we might have some with Netflix and Disney Plus that has those watch party features now. We can do that with our patrons, so it's exciting. You want to hit the other 2 tiers?
We can hit those later. I want to talk about the giveaway.
Okay.
We do have a new YouTube video up. We are doing a giveaway for our YouTube channel specifically. That's where we're now pushing the podcast most, obviously, because we're now doing the video finally. But on this figure that we're doing, it's actually a box set, multiple figures. It's the Bespin series of a new Star Wars collection you can get there for all the prequel movies and all the original movies. So on that video on YouTube, go ahead and go to the comments and type in giveaway, and when we hit 100 subscribers, we'll be picking one of the people from the comments to send this to. So that's going to be fun.
Got arguably the best set. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. This is the episode 5 set. It comes with Bespin Luke, Darth Vader, IG-88, and Bosk, thank you. Yes. We are a Cantina podcast. So we're going to go into the Cantina right now.
I drank all my drinks.
Welcome to KonKon's Cantina. What are you having? But remember, no droids.
This week, you're actually going to mix a drink.
Yes, I am.
So how about you get
Live
that
on the
stuff?
show.
Get that stuff, start mixing it, and I'm going to talk about what I'm drinking. I am drinking a this darn mechanical keyboard. Totally forgot to switch it. So
That's in your shot.
Oh, that's okay. I am drinking a barrel select of Buffalo Trace. Now, Buffalo Trace is like anybody who wants to get into bourbon. I think it's just a go-to.
Mm-hmm.
Super good. The barrel pick.
Probably considered top shelf, I would say, at a restaurant.
I think so.
I think it'd be a premium.
Especially with the rarity.
Yeah.
The rarity is what makes it top shelf, not necessarily the taste. The price is super nice. You really can get the big thing of Buffalo Trace for Buffalo Trace for really cheap. Really, really good. This one, Buffalo Trace, 6 out of 10 all day. Super good. And you?
I am waiting to open this till I'm on camera because I went to our social media accounts and I asked our listeners, what should I drink? I was feeling very indecisive. The 2 options that landed that I was going to try was, one, going and just picking a random pumpkin beer since we're officially
Full October.
going into the October. There was none.
Festive.
So the other option was from Josh Soraya, who wanted me to get a barrel-proof Elijah Craig, which I said that's a great idea, but
Hey, I know that guy.
that's a pretty hard find for a spur-of-the-moment grab.
Yeah.
But what I found is this. It's the Elijah Craig. I think it's just the small batch. Yeah,
Yep,
your
small
standard
batch.
your standard small batch, 94 proof. The holiday season has one amazing thing, and it's box sets.
Yes.
And this was $31. I think it was $31.99. It is a box set of a bottle of their small batch and a pre-mixed Elijah Craig old-fashioned cocktail mix. So I thought this was going to be cool for some of our listeners that hear us talk about. We make some crazy cool stuff that might be a little more complicated. This is a way to have a cocktail that is user-friendly. No complication. You don't have to make simple syrup. You don't have to have bitters.
And that's exactly what I was going to say, is like if you don't have the simple syrup and you don't have the bitters, it's going to be easy. Now, usually me and you, we tend to stay away from the pre-mix stuff, but that is the entire point of this. We are going to, he's going to pull this out now. All the noises.
Sorry.
He's going to pull this out and see exactly what it sounds like. I muted you real quick so we're not making ears bleed with the plastic.
I should have done this earlier. I'm gonna leave.
I love that people can see you struggling with this right now. Okay, you're unmuted.
I was imagining the bottle rocketing out of my hands and just smashing into the studio. Okay.
All right.
So for $31, you're basically getting this free. So
Yes and no. Walmart's price for the regular small batch is $25, but I think
my ice is melting.
it's melted. Well, hey, a little bit of water, for the bourbon's not a bad idea though.
So on the instructions, I will open up in 1 second. It smells good.
Yes.
On the instructions of this, it says it makes 16 drinks. in this
Debatable.
little vial. I don't think it's more. It's more like 8 Justin or Connor drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
So we are supposed to add 2 ounces of syrup. Or sorry, 2 ounces or a quarter cup of bourbon, half an ounce of the old-fashioned cocktail syrup, and that's it.
We're gonna eyeball it. It'd be alright.
We live on the edge. So I'm gonna do like a finger,
Yeah.
standard finger, and then half a finger because I like a little extra bourbon.
Yep.
And then we're going to do just a splash of that. Should have brought something to mix this with.
I'm free aiming the camera right now.
That is not bad.
Okay, give it.
That is not bad. Now, I will say, I tried one of these.
It smells good for sure.
I'll
try
one
it
of
later.
These. Yeah, get your own COVID.
Yeah,
glass.
exactly.
COVID-free glass. I tried one of these. What was it? Maybe.
It does smell good though. Like it's not like overpowering where I thought like I was gonna smell like nothing but like like nothing but like sugar. But no, it smells good.
Maybe 2 weeks ago, I tried one because I had this idea that I wanted to do something like this for the show for people who've given us feedback. They're like, I would never be able to make one of the drinks you talk about.
Yeah.
And it tasted like sweet tea vodka. It was so gross.
Ugh.
The one that I brought over here, and I punted it the entire thing into the
Speaking
trash.
of punting, I just went down the wrong pipe.
This, though, I am very pleasantly surprised. I would 100% recommend this for somebody who likes old fashioned and they don't know or want to make it.
Mando score.
Man, the Mandos play into it a little bit.
Let me get a shot of this while you're coming up with your Mando score.
I would say this could be good as a Mando rating because if you're down in the culvert, you're probably not.
I think they're hard liquor drinkers, man.
Well, this is hard liquor.
That's what I'm saying.
But this also kills kind of the frilly, like shaking a drink and garnishing it with a orange peel and a.
It's super straightforward.
Angostura
It's super
bitters.
straightforward, which I think they're.
I think that's what, and it tastes good. I give this a 7.
Okay.
I give this a 7. I'm very pleasantly surprised with this mix. This is actually Elijah Craig old-fashioned cocktail syrup mix. Cannot go wrong. If you want to take a first little dip of your toe into the cocktail game, this is a great starting point.
Guys, the agenda of this episode is we're going to be talking about Mandalorian Season 1 a year later. So we will be covering Season 1 and its highlights. We will be talking about the season as a whole, and we will recap some Season 2 rumors, and then we will follow up with some basically just predictions going into that directly correlate with Season 1. So, Episode 1, The Mandalorian. Literally I was listening to our Season 1 recap with you, me, and Russell, and this isn't my favorite part. Well, it was my favorite part of the show a year ago, which was the Baby Yoda reveal. Now, my favorite part of Season 1 is our very first introduction to Mando talking, which is him saying to his first bounty,
Getting warm.
I can bring
cold.
exactly. That's my favorite part. But it was funny listening to that recap. We were so hyped. All three of us were together. We were here at the house, and we just had no idea that Baby Yoda was coming.
It resulted in the most tragic of first episodes of podcasts ever.
Oh my, yeah. But that's got to be one of the best memories of my life.
It was.
Like, we were so high, like we paused it.
We were literally
running around the room,
vibrating.
Like we had to like stop what we were doing. We had to stop podcasting, and like we were just like literally like running around the house, like, oh my god, oh it's happening, like just running around like we didn't know what to do. That was just like that was the best.
Just the ability for them to keep that secret. I've said this several times. I don't know how they managed to do that. How did they keep that secret so freaking well that like there was no murmurs, there was no doomcock hears that there is a new Yoda species. Like the stuff that we've had now with Season 2 has been that
was my fault.
The stuff we've had with Season 2 has been just rumor central, like actors, characters that are being played, this, that, like every week there's something new. That first season was radio silence until it came out, and it blows my mind how they managed to do that.
Rumors are rumors, and I guess we're still going to say that rumors will still take some surprise away, but I still have no doubts that we're going to be hiccups. We are going to be just perfectly surprised. Like, we're going to be so happy. My question to you, before you talk about the episode a year later, or I guess both of us talking about it pretty much a year later, are you expecting, our biggest surprise was right off the bat, episode 1, Baby Yoda. Are you expecting a surprise season 2, episode 1?
I don't think they're going to try to repeat the same formula.
You don't
I
think
think that formula worked, but now they're not going to like make this their regular, that episode 1 of every season is they drop a bomb in the last seconds of the first episode.
Yeah.
I don't think that they are not going to have some type of jaw-dropping moment this season.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's gonna, I don't think they're going to follow the same formula, because that's going to make it lose interest if you're doing the same thing where episode 1 of every season there'll be some crazy thing that happens at the very end of the episode.
Yeah.
That's going to kill it.
Gotta play my soundbite, of course.
Credits. I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
That right there has become my favorite scene a year later, in episode 1 in particular. That, and then probably towards the end where you really think that he's going to kill Baby Yoda and he shoots IG-11 instead. Those two are my favorite parts. What about you? What's changed for you a year later?
In this first episode?
Yeah. Directed by Dave Filoni, the man himself.
Not much has changed in this first episode for me. My favorite scene of this episode is still my favorite scene. It's with the grappling gun, for lack of better terms, in the beginning, where the guy's trying to escape out of the bar. He shoots him, and he's hand over fist pulling him in, and then he hip draws the blaster and shoots the door before the guy can shoot him, and then it circle closes on him.
Yep.
That's my favorite part of the episode. One of my favorite parts of the show. It was such just an awesome introduction to this character.
And there's so many things about that particular scene, like there's sound effects that you're hearing, there's things that you're not seeing. You don't see the half of his body fall and hit the ground, but you know exactly what happens, and that's just so much about that show that has just made it the show that it is. A year later, Baby Yoda, still the cutest thing like on the planet.
The coos and the kaws.
Yeah, still awesome. Even like, I want that original concept art that they have where they're doing like the finger touch.
Oh, the Michelangelo?
Yes, it's like the silhouette thing. Yeah. We ready to go into episode 2?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my last question, I guess, on this first episode that has changed for me is, how do you think Dave Filoni did in his first live-action acting debut?
Ridiculous. If the success of this show does not prove to people that he needs to continue to operate not only in this format, but everything that's Star Wars, I don't really know what is between this show, Rebels, and the comics. Star Wars is just popping off in a lore that we haven't seen since like the building of the EU and really like the Old Republic. And I would just love to see Dave or John really move into more of a direction of where they're the one giving a storyboard idea of where everything is going.
Yes,
because
I like that.
They're kind of playing catch up right now. At least it seems like it seems like this to me as a fan, that they're playing catch up where they're having to fill in all these holes that have been made by other people. And I feel like if they were given an opportunity to lead and still create, see, that's what scares me, is them having leadership roles, but
being more producer level than
giving a
like John Favreau. Like John Favreau in this is kind of taken. He's not the directing, but he's involved and he's kind of guiding the way for the show.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I mean, I'll talk about this later when we get to the second episode that Dave Filoni directed. But a year later, looking back, his inexperience shows in directing live action. It shows in this episode, but not so much in this episode as it does his second episode, which is my least favorite of the entire series.
Really? Gunslinger's your least favorite?
Yeah, but we can talk about it.
We can talk about it when we get there.
When we get there. The second episode, though, The Child, by directed with Rick Famuyiwa.
We're super prepared.
Famuyiwa, I think is how you say it. It's a very odd to say last name.
Yes.
It's a freaking amazing episode.
Yes, The Child, a year later, I think I've grown. We immediately loved the Suka thing. Like we started doing the Suka chant for our embarrassing stories,
Yep.
like the Jawas of, being of a different planet and being in different areas, being on. It wasn't Navarro. I can't remember what planet.
It was Quill's planet, wherever that was. I can't remember off the
Was
top
it?
of my head.
I don't think it was Tatooine, was it?
No,
it wasn't.
it was it was Quill's planet
Yeah,
that he was on.
Yeah, it was a different one. Seeing the Jawa, I think the Jawas still have become. When I first saw that, of course, it was Baby Yoda and the Mudhorn. Like that was the scene.
Mudhorn was an awesome creature.
Were you happy to see it being a new creature? And I already know this answer, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. You enjoyed it being a new creature and not the same. And I can't remember the name of the creature because
Bantha, you thinking of?
no, the one that Anakin rides in Attack of the Clones. It has the
Varactyl?
Trihorn. Is that?
Oh
no,
Varactyl's
Varactyl
the
is
lizard. Oh, Anakin. I was thinking of Obi-Wan.
yeah.
in
Obi-Wan
Revenge
fights
of
the
Sith.
Varactyl, which is the. No.
I was thinking of the Varactyl in Revenge of the Sith. You're saying in the arena fight scene.
Yes, the
Yeah,
one that
yeah, yeah,
Anakin
yeah,
rides
yeah,
because
yeah.
they're very similar.
What is that called? I don't know what that thing is even
I
called.
know, I can't
honestly.
remember, but I was super happy. The Mudhorn was super, super awesome. A year
I love
later,
the
it's still
long it looked like what's the word? Like a ravenous Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street.
yes.
The long, shaggy brown hair.
It's almost kind of like what Al grows up to be. Like Al is Al when they're little, but when they get older, they turn into that. So a year later, so when I would first watch that episode, I very much enjoyed. I very much enjoyed the Jawas, and I very much enjoyed the scene with Baby Yoda using the Force we saw for the first time.
And I liked that the Jawas are not a Tatooine specific creature. They're showing that the Jawas are scavengers everywhere.
Yes.
They're the sand crawlers, which is cool, is not a Tatooine ship. It's ships that old mining companies used, and then when they leave, they just left them abandoned. Jawas scavenge them, get them back up and running, and then use them in classic Jawa form. It's not even isolated to one planet, and these are different looking. They had different colored eyes. I just love
and robes. They were like dark gray, like charcoal gray and black instead of the brown
it's
drab.
like universe building stuff. Like
Yeah.
They have the same traits and they're doing the same thing, but they're doing it differently on different planets, which is it's cool.
So much of a year later, and you'll hear me. Wow, you will hear me, as you were hearing me now. Quill has become like my favorite character. Like if you ask me, even in our season 1 recap,
I have spoken.
I had a hard time picking between Kara and the Armorer for like a kind of like an offshoot favorite character. Of course, we love Din.
Like a underdog B-roll favorite character.
Like of course we love Din. Of course we love Baby Yoda. Of course we love
Chubbs.
But we want to, kind of want to pick something, reasons to like other people, for other people to shine. And it was always, Kara or the Armorer. Rewatching this series.
We hadn't met Kara yet at this point in chapter 2.
Yeah, but Quill is just, he's the star of the show. Like besides Mando,
I feel like they gave him some of the most character building time.
Yeah,
that whole like later the whole montage, the backstory of being enslaved to the Imperials for 3 human lifetimes. Like they gave him, which looking back in hindsight, they were setting him up to get you attached to him because they knew they were going to kill him off.
And that's why a year later, especially in this episode in season 2, he talks with the Jawas. He knows, I'm assuming, what's called.
They speak Huttese, don't they?
Do they speak Huttese? I thought they spoke their own language. It
Maybe.
Probably is Huttese.
That's like kind of like the outer rim trade languages, like Huttese.
Yeah, it's like Huttese. Well, he's able to speak with the Jawas, which I really liked. And Quill just becomes a star for me. And so a year later, my favorite part of this is actually Quill, because there's so many things about Quill, even in this episode, where if it wasn't for Quill, Mando would never get to his goal.
Never get the egg bassinet.
Yeah, he would never get the awesome egg bassinet for Baby Yodes. He would never have rebuilt his ship. Like he would have never gotten to Baby Yoda in the first place.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Quill.
Yeah.
So Quill, for me, a year later, especially in this episode, he's the MVP.
One of my other favorite parts in this episode was the whole sandcrawler scene, and how it harkened.
The action scene is just
how it harkened back to me to not Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Last Crusade.
I was literally gonna say it's so Indiana Jones. It's not even funny.
The Last Crusade tank scene where Indy's trying to infiltrate, climb onto the tank, and then it has the same kind of up against a cliff wall.
Yes,
and it
yes.
the sticks the rock into the gun and
Yep.
curls it backwards.
He even like grabbing the Jawa and pulling him,
pulling him off the top.
Yes, and then when he
It was
finally
such
gets
a-
to the top,
Which I mean, I love like it's fan service and not fan service, but I mean, I associate Indiana Jones very closely with Star Wars because of
oh yeah, you can't
the Spielberg and
yeah.
Lucas involvement and Han Solo / Indiana Jones being the
Yeah.
same actor, and I feel like this is like a cool little fan service to that,
Yeah.
especially with Lucas being involved as much as. Speaking of that, I did not realize leading up to this how much Lucas was involved and on set repeatedly in
So
the
a
making
year.
of this.
So does that change a year later for you? Like
That
looking back,
adds to it to me. Like
Yeah.
that adds because they're involving the creator and including him and wanting his input versus the sequel trilogy that they wanted nothing to do with him.
So episode 3,
My favorite episode now.
is this your favorite episode a year later? Period.
A year later, this is my favorite episode. If I separate the hype and crazy ending and reveals of the last, call the two together, but specifically the very last.
Yeah.
That kind of, if I can separate that part with it, this is my favorite episode, is this third episode.
The thing that
The sin.
and we've talked about this. We're super upset that Deborah Chow is not going to be a part of season 2, and it can't be ignored that the reason
Not
for that.
upset, disappointed, but
Oh, I'm upset.
happily disappointed because of Obi-Wan.
And that's where the reasoning comes in. She's most likely not involved because of Obi-Wan. So
Yeah,
we'll give you a
conflicting.
pass this time, Deborah. But if she's going to be doing things of the caliber that she does with episode 3, The Sin, and episode 7, The Reckoning,
Another hers.
I am super excited for Obi-Wan. But what's your favorite thing about this show? Has your favorite thing about season 1, episode 3 changed a year later, or is it still?
Well, this wasn't my favorite a year ago. I
Okay.
think when it ended, I liked this episode, but with the hype of just finishing it, the last 2 episodes together, the last one specifically with
Yeah.
the Darksaber with Din, who we finally learned his name, taking his mask off, with IG-11 sacrifice. We're jumping ahead episodes, but that was my favorite when it came out.
But a year later, this is now your favorite.
A year later, looking back and kind of rewatching the whole thing as a collective story rather than a week by week story, this episode had so many moments and so many cool things. It has fan service when he goes into the Imperials. What were they? Their little bunker, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
It had like a Batman-esque feel of him like moving through in the dark with his cape
Yes.
flowing and just taking guys out like one by one silently. He's got his Beskar armor for the first time. We got to see his Beskar armor
Yep.
and not his multicolored armor, which I still did like.
Yeah.
You get to see the whistling birds for the first time. You get to see the entire culvert come to his rescue.
Yep.
Like, there's so many moments in this that were like,
There's the beginning scene where you have another member of Clan Vizsla, the heavy duty Mando.
what's his name? It's Dave Filoni.
It's
or
Dave
not
Filoni voices him.
Not Dave. John Favreau voicing
Or
him.
yeah, John, yep.
And he's actually...
He's a Vizsla. I can't
Yeah.
remember his first name.
Pre-Vizsla?
No, Pre-Vizsla is
Was-
the dude with the...
Who he did the voice for also, right?
And
then this
no,
is like...
I don't think so.
Yeah, because he did the voice in Clone Wars.
No,
Yes,
no.
100%.
Look it up.
I know this for 100%.
Okay.
And this is the same last name, but a different
I know.
person.
Yeah, I
It's
know
the
it's
same
the same
family.
Yeah, I know it's the same family. That scene between them two when they're fighting and they both pull out the vibro blades is just like super sick. And then is that the first time we hear "This is the way"?
Yeah.
That's when the armor that might be the most quotable thing even a year later. I think more so than I have spoken.
Yeah, Pre-Vizsla, voiced by John Favreau.
Dang it.
Don't.
Well, I don't like that at all because it's not the same person. So why do you have the same voice actor?
But it's the same family. And I'm sure he voiced it different. Like,
Well,
a father sounds like a son.
I wonder if he's supposed to be family member or a clan.
I think it's family.
Yeah, I would like it that it was
Like,
family
Clan
too.
Ren was all Sabine's family.
Yeah, it is. Man, Just makes me think that I want just so many
Learning
more
stuff
Mandos.
a year later.
So many more Mandos.
But yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, this episode specifically just had so many moments. The Rocketeer moment at the very end of the
Oh, yeah.
episode was this episode.
There is a lot that's really, really good
This
about
is
this
my
episode.
favorite looking back at it, like with the whole thing, without the hype of it being new every week. This is my favorite.
Yeah.
And Deborah Chow, man, she nailed it.
This episode for me a year later still is just one of the best. It's one of the ones that I can throw on every episode of the show. Doesn't matter which one.
Yeah.
I can put them all on.
Instant classic.
Yeah, even there are some weaker episodes, that being probably in our opinion both 5 and 6 are the weakest.
Yes, personally for me.
Yeah, personally 5 and 6 are the weakest, but I could still put any of them on, and especially
There's
this one.
saving moments in each one.
Yeah, every one. And this one for me, all the Mandos coming in at the end, it's just it's so hype.
I didn't expect it.
It's so
even
hype.
remotely.
Year later, we talked about this on our episode when we covered the Sin. Do we think that Din shot Chubbs in the Beskar on purpose because he saw him put the Beskar? Or do we still think it's a coincidence? Was he shooting to kill?
I don't think he does things for a coincidence. I mean, I don't think he does things not on purpose.
Yeah, I think he
wouldn't
did
be
it on purpose.
It wouldn't be a coincidence.
Yeah.
I think it was a warning shot, but a serious warning shot.
Yeah, he didn't want to kill him. It was kind of like
I can if
a
I
friend,
want to.
Yeah, a friend of my friend, or an enemy. That wow, I'm
Nailed it.
Nailed it. You got it.
A friend of my friend is an enemy to my friend.
In some cases, that's true.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Episode 3 is really, really good. Episode 4 is my personal favorite.
It's another excellent one.
And-
It's a more slower paced.
Yeah, it's slower.
Kara's introduction. Sorry. Kara's introduction.
Yes, Kara's introduction. The thing for
Do
me,
you say Kara or Kara? Because I hear so many
Kara.
people. I say Kara too.
Kara. A year later, the thing that is so special to me about Sanctuary, directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. Now, I had huge reservations about her directing this when I heard that she was directing, because I didn't know the rap sheet that she had already had with directing.
She's much more an actor than a director.
But her
she's
dad-
a great actor.
Her dad does amazing work. I mean, the solo story done by Ron Howard
It's in the blood.
was amazing, super
Apollo
underrated.
13.
Yeah, he's both huge movies, and
Saving Private Ryan.
really, really thought that this was going to be weak. And I think that when we first saw it, we all thought it was weak, and this is why this episode resonates with me almost the most a year later.
I don't know if I thought it was weak. It definitely felt slower paced than the last 3 had been. After the way that the Sin ended and the ramping up of that, this was like a way throttle it back to like a slower pace.
Yeah, we were taking a breather.
Yeah.
There was still some really good comic relief in this episode. This is where we get probably the most memeable thing we have of Baby Yoda, of him just sipping his soup while him and Kara were having their little fight.
We learned about his love of eating frogs.
Yes, the frog scene is just iconic. The thing for me a year later about this is the episode where, after we have episode 3, The Sin, when Mando is trying to fly away on a ship and he's putting on the knob, and the knob makes him remember Baby Yoda. That's when he then decides to go back and get Baby Yoda. We see a glimpse of his humanity, really quickly. He's not just a soulless person. There's somebody behind this mask, and he has feelings. This episode in particular, we see the human side of Din Djarin, where I really want to see this show, however it ends in any aspect, he literally goes back to this planet and he gets Pocahontas. Because it was so cool, because even Kara says, you
could have a life here.
Yeah, you could have a life here. You could settle down with that widow and drink spatchka for the rest of your life and let Baby Yoda grow up.
Introduced to spatchka, wasn't it?
Huh? Yeah.
This is where
Yep.
they had to go steal the spatchka.
Yep. This in particular, though, I just really liked the connection between them. And I thought that it was so good that it talks to the ability of the show of how much emotion we get from Pascal's voice when she's trying to take off his helmet and whatnot. It almost sounds like he's literally tearing up and holding back tears in this episode. Like, the voice acting is top notch. We get so much emotion from him just tilting his helmet. When you can't see somebody's voice or their face,
I was gonna lean into this. Just
the body language.
He does, and I can't even say that him, but the combination of
it's hard to know who
the three people that wear that armor do such an awesome job of acting and portraying these emotions. And I mean, some of it also has to be the director. The director is knowing how to direct this person to move and how to act and portray these. It's just like how fast he'll turn his head, how fast he'll react to something. Like, that is such a hard thing to do with zero face emotioning.
Yeah. And
there's no emoting through that armor and mask and everything. And they have to do it all in his body movements and his voice acting. And they crush it in this episode, probably more than almost any of the other episodes.
Yeah, and another thing for me in this episode, we get the ATST, which was super cool. It had like the
first time ever called an ATST ever on live action.
On live action.
Clatoonians.
The Clatoonians, yes. That's when I sung my Mando. I sung the Mando song. This episode,
Patreon exclusive. I already made a ringtone of that song.
I'll full send it.
I made a ringtone of that song. So if you sign up for Patreon, I will email you the ringtone of Connor singing that song. What is it? What do we call it? I don't remember what we called it.
I don't know.
Let's get down to business.
Yeah, I'll sing it another time. I keep telling you, I really need to like full send in that.
The Clatoonians.
Yes. What about you for episode 4? Is there what I think what I said? My main point is a year later, you just see how much of Din Djarin is human in this episode, and that's what makes it. I feel most connected to the character.
The first tease of his helmet coming off,
yeah,
was a cool.
Oh yeah,
scene.
he takes it off and
she leaves so that he can eat or drink his. I can't remember if it was eating or drinking, but she left
both.
So he could take off the helmet to eat.
Yep.
This episode was like such a Seventh Samurai, just reinvention, which is a good thing. I loved the ending where you thought that Baby Yoda was about to get sniped, and Kara in the last minute saves you, or saves and takes out the assassin that was. You now know bounty hunters are still coming for him.
Yep,
not coming for Din.
Coming for Baby Yoda.
Lining up a sight at Din, lining up a sight at Baby Yoda. So that was a cool little driving the story forward moment in the end of the episode. Unfortunately, I did not like the next episode.
Episode 5.
Gunslinger.
Now, let's just get this out of the way real quick. A year later, episode 5 or 6, which one is weaker?
5, 100%.
You think so? You think 5?
I think there's zero denying that 5 is not as good. The acting is such a mess in this episode.
You don't think that my Han Solo wannabe dude is a good actor?
I remember saying when we were recording this episode, like, I instantly hate this guy.
Yeah. How dare you sit where he sat?
Yeah, in the same booth. Come on.
There's a whole Twitter battle, like people like trying to compare A New Hope, saying like it's not the booth, and other people saying, look, they're making it to look like the same booth.
Yeah,
and then
it was
like
for sure supposed to be the same booth.
Yeah, I don't think it's a coincidence.
That episode was full of fan service, which, depending on how you take fan service, that could either be a good thing or a bad thing. I liked what they did. I liked seeing the same places, but then seeing how time has changed them, and the Empire's fall has changed the same place that you knew. Because for me, it grounded me into that universe, and it grounded me into the timeline. Because you know what it looked like when the Empire was at its height, and now you know exactly what the same place looked like when the Empire is at its lowest.
I guess we don't have to spend too much time on this episode then. Year later, changes for me is I think that Finnick is going to play a big role in season 2.
If she's alive, we suspect that she is.
I think she'll be alive. I think that she'll play a huge role. I think they built her up to be too BA to not be in season 2.
And we do know they're going to be back on Tatooine.
Yes, we've already seen that in the second trailer. And, of course, we have the boot spur person. Year later, who do you think that is? You still on the Boba Fett train?
I will get into that at the end of this episode because I teased you with a hot take. that I have
Oh,
pieced,
yeah.
I've pieced together some stuff
Okay.
that I mean, I can tell you now if you want me to go now.
No.
into it.
Let's save it.
Okay.
Because there's a big
I will
reveal.
tease it.
There's
I'll tease it so you have to listen later. I am willing to say 100%. I think I have thought out what is going to happen. And I feel very, very, very confident.
Do you want to spoil the people, though? What if you're right? What if
If
you
I'm
ruin
right,
the
then I just
show?
get accolades and we get more patrons and like, oh my God, I have to listen to this podcast.
Or-
I'm the new Doomcock.
Or due to cancel culture, we are cast into the streets and we have to walk.
We'll save it for the end. But I am the new Doomcock.
Okay.
That's what Liz says, at least.
Oh, okay. Episode 6.
My second least favorite episode.
There are multiple reasons as to why this is actually my least favorite episode.
There's saving graces in both of in Gunslinger and The Prisoner.
There are saving graces.
I'm picking apart something I love.
Really quick, a year later, I really appreciate in Gunslinger. I have to go back the sign language for the Sand People.
Mm-hmm.
That's our first glimpse of them not being mindless savages that they've always been painted. These are people that have culture and a language, and
Yeah.
they're sentient. Like they've always been painted as
They're a tribe, but they're
yeah.
not a tribe of idiots. They have their own culture.
A thing that is
The Prisoner.
yeah. So saving grace for me in the
Another
Prisoner.
Rick Family.
Yes. Rick does this episode. The Razor Crest is like a star of the show, showing, the importance of the Razor Crest and it
The Razor
predating the, oh my God. What's funny is in the season 2 trailer, the X-Wing pilot says Razor Crest stand down. I don't know. I thought that was interesting.
I like it.
I wonder if people would say Falcon stand down.
I wonder if we're the only people that have kind of stumbled across this. Like,
we're like the only people who argue about it.
it's a legitimate debate. Like, I to be a devil's advocate, I do see the points that you make. But I
see the points that you make too.
there is a weird line. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody else has thought about this. We need to reach out to
It's like, we need to like start tweeting at people and be like, yo, what is it? Because if somebody saw the Falcon, if somebody was trying to like pull the
Star
Falcon
Wars
over,
Theory or somebody like that and make them do all the research for us.
Well, I would say like somebody would say YT Freighter stand down. They wouldn't say the Falcon. Like only Han calls it the Falcon, and
yeah, but
we're
you also have ship designation automatically on your sensors. You're broadcasting the name of your ship every time.
Oh, that's true.
So it could go either way. I love
Yeah,
it.
it could go
I'd love
either
to
way.
know. We need one of those visual dictionaries to come out for the Mandalorian.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we need
That
one
would
really
answer.
bad.
Okay, so back to The Prisoner.
Yeah, so The Prisoner, Chapter 6. A year later, I do enjoy watching this episode. However, the reason why this is my least favorite, more so than Gunslinger, is I still feel that Gunslinger does more for the story. And that may be hard to believe considering there's so many people from Mando's past in this episode.
Is more of like a past telling, not a current story.
Why can't... I'm only forgetting his name because I'm literally sitting here recording the podcast. But who is Bill Burr?
Mm-hmm.
The thing about the Bill Burr character is...
He hates Star Wars openly.
He hates Star Wars.
That is a big pet peeve of mine.
I don't know, and I don't know because it was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Is that when he was talking about it?
I remember watching it was like one of those edited clips, and I just saw the clip of him talking. He's like, "Yeah, I'm in Star Wars." I
don't even know what that is.
With his Boston accent,
Yeah.
super arrogant, hating it. Like, I don't even care what I'm doing, and it turned me off.
Yeah. Well, the character itself, we see that they're all still alive at the end, except for most likely the two main people because they get blown up in the space station by the X-Wings. But it's already confirmed that Bill Burr is returning in season 2. So is he returning as enemy? Is he returning as...
Wait, that's confirmed?
Yes.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I'll show you later. But
going along with what you were just saying about the X-Wings, one of the coolest moments of the show ever, which is, I wouldn't even call this fan service. This is like Easter egg fan service for the creators, is all of the directors got to be the X-Wing pilots with, like, nobody talked about it. You had to know who they were and catch who they were.
Yeah.
But the X-Wing pilots that you saw Dave Filoni, you saw Deborah Chow, and you saw Rick. Whatever his name is, they're the 3 X-Wings that roll in and take them out.
And they're New Republic. And that episode also had Matt Lanter, which is the
Yep,
voice of
Anakin.
Anakin in the Clone Wars, which is super cool. I feel like there was some cool Mando moments, some more Batman style stuff like
Yes,
you were talking
yes.
about. But a year later, I feel like that this episode does the least for the story, and it was almost a filler episode if I had to pick one. I
Yeah.
still feel like
It does some good universe building though, because it leans into the New Republic and its creation and how the New Republic scaled back all of its defense.
that is so funny. That it's almost, now that you're saying that, this is reminding me, this is almost like a loophole, because in episode 1, Mando is basically says like the New Republic isn't even a thing, like they're who cares, and then we fast forward an unknown period of time, and now he's super worried that New Republic strike team is gonna come and attack. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think that it's easy to say who the heck is the New Republic when you're on Navarro, and you're
Yeah.
in the Bounty Hunters Guild's little bar.
True.
When you're on a New Republic prisoner ship,
True.
it's a different thing. What I was saying is it's good universe building with the New Republic in its infancy. But one of the things Mon Mothma always said is they're going to scale back. They're going to demilitarize the New Republic once the Empire is defeated, and that's why on this entire prisoner ship, it's all droids.
Yep.
Except for one lone guy in his he was wearing Alderaanian armor, which was cool. So Matt Lantern was an Alderaan survivor running the prisoner ship and gets taken out.
No doubt they kept that probably as a remembrance. But anything else a year later for you?
I mean, this episode was my number 1 least favorite, and it just got bumped to number 2 least favorite. It's like I said, there's saving graces in every single one of these episodes, but this is, like you said, this is the closest thing to a filler that I felt, because I think we went from such highs and so much information and so much action to these episodes that were just, to me, lackluster in comparison. On their own, they might have been great, but because of the high we were up at, these felt like a drop down.
Episode 7, The Reckoning. I keep saying episode, chapter 7, The Reckoning, directed by, once again, our lady Deborah Chow. Super good things about this episode. A year later, I would say that my absolute favorite part is we have that argument between Kara and Quill, where they're over the Empire, and basically Quill saying, just because I was a slave to the Empire doesn't mean I loved or worked for the Empire, basically. And that reminds me of the Rogue One scene between don't you start quoting it, dude. It is so good, dude. It's so good. And that's what it reminds I know, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. It reminds me of that between Diego and Felicity Jones, and it's just so good. A year later, once again, I was telling you that Quill has, in my opinion, he's the hero of season 1. And once again, they're on the ship, they're on their way to Navarro, and I actually pointed this out to you, is after that little argument, Mando commissions Quill yet again. He says, I need your help, I need your services. And he's the one that makes the new floating bassinet that opens and closes.
Yes.
Which is going to be my favorite part going into season 2, because even though Quill dies, we still have this thing that is going to tie Baby Yoda and Din to Quill, because Baby Yoda still has the same bassinet that Quill made for him. And Quill really he became my favorite character. Even Russell said in our season 1 recap episode that, he's not a crier, but when Quill died, it really got him choked up, and it really got me choked up. So a year later, that scene in particular, it hits home for me so hard. Quill is just super important to me.
This episode, and then leading in, I mean, mentally, I combine 7 and 8 as almost a part 1 and part 2, because they are so seamlessly flow into each other.
Yeah.
Which is crazy that it's 2 different directors and they were able to do that, but that's a different point.
Yeah.
But this episode, to me, with Jon Favreau's MCU ties.
Yes.
And his starting, like, he wants to make a superhero movie, he makes Iron Man and starts the MCU. This felt like an Avengers episode after there was some individual hero episodes.
All the reuniting.
Because it had that team building aspect where Mando went to all of these people that helped him survive, helped him get through all of this, and pulls them all together
Yeah.
He went to Chubbs. He goes to Kara. He goes to Queel. He builds this super team. He's got the IG
and he
unit.
gets the IG unit, yep.
Is back.
Oh,
and
I
it's
love
alive.
IG units.
We get the montage scene
Yes.
of Queel parenting / rebuilding
yes.
and teaching IG to be a caregiver.
Yep.
And it was such a cool.
Shout outs to Taika.
Taika.
Come
he
on.
didn't get as many directing episodes on this.
Yeah.
But he played IG 11's voice and like knocked it out of the park. And then his episode, the last episode, chapter 8, is unparalleled, like amazing action / comedy / drama all thrown together.
A year later, remember we got a warning, an advertisement, a hey, by the way,
What are you talking about?
you are going to see something in this episode before you see Rise of Skywalker that is going to help you come to terms with the movie.
I don't remember that.
You are officially off the podcast.
In
Baby Yoda
episode
heals.
7? Oh, okay.
Chubbs.
I don't remember hearing a
yes, we literally got a APB, a PSA, a hey, by the way, that you're gonna see something in
This is canon universe.
This
Like,
exactly. And so does seeing Baby Yoda heal what he does, and then literally, I don't even remember how many seconds into Rise of Skywalker we see Rey do the Force heal thing on the snake. A year later, does that help or did that take away for you?
It honestly did nothing in either direction because Force healing was always, to me, a Force ability that existed.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing that Disney created. It was always a thing. So that, to me, that didn't do anything either direction.
Ready for Chapter 8?
Yeah, let's just seamlessly tie into it.
Chapter 8, the season finale, Redemption, directed by, as we said, Taika Waititi. Now,
His
where does
lone episode he directed that he just like
killed?
He's like, I got
slayed.
He's like, I'm going to bat once, send in a home run.
Bases were loaded.
Yeah.
Okay, and he won the Star Wars World Series with this episode. A year later,
Man.
is this your what's your most watched episode a year later? Do you have a most watched episode?
Probably 1 and 8 are my most watched.
It's fun. 1, 4, and 8 for sure are my most watched, and the one that I've watched the most recently is 8, because I just went through I went through the entire thing again. And a year later, not much has changed as far as just how amazing this show is. The thing that I have a year later, and it's kind of a negative, is I don't think the Death Troopers were done good enough.
Like given enough.
Yeah, I think
to show you how bad
yes,
I think are like
Rogue One
ultimate elites that
yes,
they are.
Yep, Rogue One, super BA, and I understand this is a long time since Rogue One. Maybe there could be multiple canon reasons as to why that is, but anyway, year later, anything special for you?
What is special to me about this episode is Chapter 7 ending so ominous and down and low, and Queel is dying, and the Empire's remnant scout troopers are snatching up Baby Yoda and taking him off into the distance. And then episode 8 starts with like pure comedy.
Yes,
with
the purest,
like the most troll ever, like Taika, who is like one of the most amazing directors ever, and he's hilarious, and his comedy style. Taika is like best friends with Jermaine Clement and oh man, I can't remember Brett. I can't think of what Brett's last name is, but from Flight of the Conchords. Jermaine, Brett, and Taika, who Taika is one of the directors and producers on Flight of the Conchords. The three of them are New Zealanders. They're Kiwis. And their comedy style, when the three of them get together, it's so hilarious. And you kind of got to see
Would you call it slapstick? It's pretty thought out. It's pretty thought out.
It's smart comedy.
Yeah,
and And like, what's the Hulk Thor movie Ragnarok,
yeah,
that he directed, and he plays the big strong guy.
Yeah, the stone guy.
I don't
oh,
know.
hey, how you doing there,
Yeah.
Thor?
Yeah,
It's just a freaky circle.
it's just a circle.
Yeah.
Like, you can see that same comedy, like, immediately when he's the director, like, it's back.
Yeah, like talking, like, yeah, well, we're gonna start talking
Yeah.
about Thor Ragnarok, but no, I get what you're saying completely.
Like, it's ended so low, and then he, like, does such an awesome job of, like, continuing the story directly, but then, like, you see IG-11 is still alive, the Scout Troopers are punching Baby Yoda and, like, literally lighting the internet on fire.
Literally.
When Jason Sudeikis, is that Scout Trooper that punches him, and then they start shooting a can, and they can't hit anything, and he's looking at his gun, and he's rattling his gun, and, like, just leaning into how the tropes of stormtroopers can't hit anything. There's so many awesome little things at the jump off of that episode where it was like, how do you take somebody like from being on the verge of tears on one Friday, and the next Friday they're laughing like that? Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Knock it on.
Yeah.
I said, shut up. Shouldn't we check and see if it's still alive? You hit it pretty hard. You just want to see it. Well, we should check and see if it's hurt. Okay, look, here you go. See? Take a peek. Everything's fine. What is that? I don't know, it's a pet or something. A pet? Ow!
It bit me.
Stop that.
Anyway, it's just it's too good. It's too good.
Shout out to Jason Sudeikis' new show on Apple TV Plus, Ted Lasso.
Dude, I need to get my Apple TV going.
But this episode, like, I don't know, just that subtle turn, and then the comedy brought in.
Yeah.
Before then, IG-11 just, like, rolls through on the speeder bike and just demolishes the entire Imperial remnant on his
Literally.
way in, just like 360 spinning, just pew 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 pew.
Getting everybody. The thing a year later too. Obviously we have the Darksaber reveal, but
Yeah.
the thing that gets me the most a year later with this episode is the sacrifice of IG-11.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's explaining to Din, and once again we see this humanizing moment with Din where he's established all through the TV show that he hates droids because he
Mm-hmm.
grew up in the Clone Wars.
But he established two things: he hates droids,
Yeah.
and he cannot take his helmet off.
Yes, and they kind of get that relationship where IG-11 says, well, I'm not living, so I don't fit that mold. Like, I can take
Yeah.
your helmet off. So he takes it off. He saves him.
Yeah.
And then later in the episode, once again, IG explains, like, my receptors are going off. Like, I know you're emotional. Like, there's no reason to cry.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, the sacrifice of IG-11, even though it's something that is, once again, non-living and non-sentient, is just still... That, to me, a year later is the best part of the episode.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, the other part that's also amazing is new TIE fighters that land.
Yeah.
I can't remember what they gave. They gave them an official name.
Yes.
They were called like
Instead of-
Outlander. I think they were called like Outlander TIE fighters or something like that. Was the name?
I can
was
actually,
the name of it?
I can actually demonstrate. Instead of... Well, that was a really bad TIE fighter. Well, there you go. Instead of landing like this on their wings... like we have seen them, and they hang like this in hangars, and then they drop out, right? I had that upside down the whole time, but it'd be aight. Instead of doing that, they I want one of the... No, it
Oh,
doesn't.
I thought
but
it was.
this does this, and I always wondered if it did that for a reason. Anyway, now the wings fold. These won't fold, but
Yeah, but the wings basically almost like the S foils on a X-wing, how
Yep.
they separate. On this, the vertical folds into like
it's super cool.
into like a tighter angle, and they can land flat on the ground.
Not surprisingly, the Mandalorian went on to win numerous
Wait, can we talk
awards.
about Moff Gideon for a
Oh yeah,
minute?
he was your favorite character.
Oh, he's still my favorite character, like minus
The usuals.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I did not expect him to be so amazing.
You have something I want.
Oh god, the way he delivers lines.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I like we immediately got how he wasn't somebody to be messed with when he kills his own assailant, right? So he kills the client like right at the beginning when they're having like the phone call.
Yeah.
He just has the whole squadron light
You
up the cantina.
You thought that
He
he
was the bad guy.
like the big boss.
Mhm.
But when
Moff Gideon.
Giancarlo was it Esposito?
Esposito.
Esposito.
Yeah.
But when Giancarlo just comes in, and it just immediately gave me Breaking Bad vibes.
Why is his mustache so good? Like, seriously, like the wavy hair, the mustache. It's almost like it's almost the same character.
He's so good at being evil.
Yes.
Like dripping evil from him. Like just his tone, the cadence, and how he speaks, and like he can take a sentence that you or I would sound perfectly normal, and he says it, and you're like, oh crap, I'm gonna die. Like there's like the way he is able to do that is, I don't know how they got him for this. Like he's like, dude, I'm so happy. I can't wait to see what they do with his character.
And at least we knew he would be coming back, but we did see him in the trailer to season 2.
Yeah,
which
we
is
know
good.
he has. I mean, he's got to have a major role. He's got to be pursuing Din and the child. Which he was in this episode.
Yeah,
but with more, he's got to be so pissed.
Yeah,
the way Din was able to first time use his jetpack / rising sun or rising phoenix, and then like combination of suck at controlling it and use his wrist grapple to shoot the TIE fighter, and then grapple and jetpack back onto the TIE fighter and take the TIE fighter out with a detonator. Like, who takes a TIE fighter out on their own?
Din.
That's so awesome. Like, he's got to be pissed.
Yeah, for sure.
Moff Gideon's gonna be coming with some vengeance.
And I'm surprised we haven't gotten a figure of him yet.
That's a good point.
I really want them to bring back 12-inch figures.
That would be cool.
The 12-inch figures were always my favorite, even when I was little, and I really wish that they'd start bringing back some 12-inch figures. You know, the Hot Toys, that's a bit above my collecting want.
There's too many that I want, and they go for too much money.
Yeah. And then there's the other ones that are the 1/10 that you put together, the 1/10 scale.
I have a Bandai model of Boba Fett that I just bought. I haven't put together yet. But yeah, those are good. But
Still, I really would like them to come back with 12-inch figures that are opposable and whatnot. Like we have this
decent detail 12-inch figures.
Exactly. No surprises here. This show won many awards. It was actually nominated for 19. We won't go into all of what it was.
19 Emmys.
Yeah, what it was nominated for, but we will go over each one that it actually won.
It won 6 Emmys.
So the first one, and then you can take the next one. No surprise, outstanding visual effects. No doubt that this was done because of the new technology that they were introducing and how they filmed the show.
And the volume.
Yes, the volume is amazing. To the way that they were able to recreate artificial light by using technically real light from these TVs, these illuminated, this space. You just can't recreate that with shadowing and all that stuff. So that's one of my favorite parts of the show, period.
Yeah. I mean, they also won outstanding cinematography for a single camera series, outstanding sound mixing, which, I mean, Star Wars, I think
it's always,
whenever there's a new Star Wars, it's like always going to get... Well, actually, this is Emmy, so this is TV, so this is the first time they've had a chance.
Yeah.
Except for the animated stuff.
Outstanding sound editing for a comedy or drama series.
Yeah, so they won both sound mixing and sound editing.
Yep.
In the same thing.
And the last one, outstanding production design for a narrative program.
Which the production of this show is just...
beyond top notch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Granted, they have a lot of assets that they could reuse from the years of... Like, they have literally 40 years of movies that they have assets that they can pull into the production, which is awesome for us. But, yeah, like, I can't think of a TV show... Maybe something like a Game of Thrones style level of money that could be dumped into something to build a universe.
There's no way they don't get a bigger budget next year.
Yeah, for sure. Like the universe building into this TV show is as much or more than most feature films.
Yeah. I think that the thing that'll be, and I don't even think they're going to have to compete with much next year. I mean, they might compete with The Boys for an Emmy. They might compete with... I mean, what else? The
Lord of find something else.
Lord of the Rings isn't coming out.
The Witcher might compete. I mean, that's the same sci-fi fantasy type of a thing.
Stranger Things, it'll compete with Stranger Things, And even then, Stranger Things was good for sound and stuff. So for it to beat things like that,
Stranger Things before this came out was the first original soundtrack in the last decade that blew my mind.
Yes.
With the Duffer Brothers soundtrack.
dude, yes.
But this is kind of the same,
And,
or
well-
not the same but different, but like a cool retro vibe to it.
And the amount of originality that went into I'm not even going to do it, but the theme song is just...
Oh yeah,
It's...
if you haven't watched The Gallery, which is
Yes.
all the behind the scenes, one of the two best episodes to me on that show was the episode on the volume that went into the detail of what that actually is and entails and what they can do with it. The other favorite episode, which is probably my number one, is the episode with Ludwig Göransson, and it's all on the music and the sound.
Yep.
And he literally plays like live on this episode, like he's playing like 30 different instruments. It's like, yeah, I bought like 40 different types of recorders, and that's where I got the
Yeah.
whatever. It's like this giant mega
Yeah.
like a recorder that you played in elementary school.
Yes.
He bought like
A giant
40
one.
different like crazy ones, and it's like a gigantic like 4-inch thick recorder, and he's playing it.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. And then I went on piano and I figured out this little riff, and then I played the bass line to get this. Like, the dude's a genius, and
Yeah.
it was awesome.
We did already cover our least favorite episodes. Who do you think the strongest and the weakest director was?
So, I really think Dave Filoni's the weakest director.
It's fun.
I don't think that he is a weak creator by any means. I just think this is the first time he's ever directed live action, and I think that he just has a little more to learn and fine-tune on how to direct humans shooting live action versus creating the shows, number one, which he knocks it out of the park, and directing animation.
This is my inexperience. I might not know this. If you're directing it, does that mean you wrote the episode?
Do you know?
So, in my opinion, directing is important, but what's more important is the writing of the episode. So if Dave...
Yeah, but you can get a good scene and teach somebody how to direct and how they portray something that could be not the best line.
See, because I would never say that what we saw visually of, say, episode 5 was weak by any means.
The bad acting in episode 5, everybody was a bad actor pretty much in that episode.
Except the SNL chick.
But she was bad, but she was cheesy bad.
Good bad.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what I think he wasn't able to pull great performances from the actors out in that episode compared to the other 7.
The answer is still Dave, unfortunately. I do hope that Dave has like 2 episodes.
Which it's not like I'm picking on him.
No,
I think
no.
he's just, it's a new thing for him.
Yeah.
And I think that he's going to learn to fly with it and get better at it. It's
from-
something in the gallery that he openly talks about. He's like,
he's never done it.
He's like, I didn't know what I was doing. I've never directed before, so this was all new. I was terrified.
Yeah. Deborah Chow was the strongest for me.
Deborah and Taika.
Yeah.
I would have liked to see another episode from Taika, but because Deborah had 2, like, I got to give it to her.
Rick too, though. I mean, Rick had 2
everybody
episodes.
was great.
Everybody was great. Even
I can't wait to see what season 2 is because nobody's back except Dave.
No, I thought Bryce Howard was returning as well. I have to look on the Instagram.
Yeah.
I put the information of the directors up there, but personally, there's nothing that I would have changed in season 1. Even a year later, there's absolutely nothing I would have changed.
I don't think it would change anything.
If Quill dying didn't impact me as much as it did, maybe I would say let him live, but because they built him so good and then him dying meant so much, yeah. I wouldn't even change that. So let's wrap this episode up with season 2.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to hear my prediction?
Yes.
My hot take?
You want me to tell you mine first?
Yes, go yours.
So the new Spotlight trailer came out.
Yep.
Which was Monday Night Football.
Right? Or Monday. Yeah.
He said 2 very, very important things, which I've been very busy with work, and I haven't been able to put up my prediction type thought thing on like I did for the first trailer breakdown. He says something very important. One, he says that he's asking for somebody's help. And once again, these audio cues can be taken from anywhere from the season, right? The season's already done. He says he's asking for somebody's help because he's quested to find Baby Yoda's kind. So that's the very first important thing he says. The second important thing he says is that he says, if I find more Mandalorians, maybe they can help me, right? That directly ties in two Mandalorians for sure that are alive, supposedly, which is Boba and Sabine. So he's, and the armorer and whoever's left from the covert.
Yes.
So my hot take is that was just confirmation that we are going to get some sort of another legacy Mandalorian. And if not, I think
legacy Mandalorian. Nobody specific. You think there's just going to be?
I think a named Mandalorian from another Star Wars that we've had. Even if it's somebody just mentioned by name, like the story of Pre Vizsla or even Bo-Katan, or because Bo could still be alive. Sabine Wren's mom could still be alive.
Yeah.
Sabine herself can still be alive, and we still don't know if Boba is dead or not, quote canonly, right? So, give me your hot take.
Okay. So, if you remember a few weeks ago, or maybe it's longer than a few weeks ago, we learned Timothy Oliphant, who is what's his Western show, like sheriff show, Justified. A lot of people know him Justified from Deadwood. He plays like a cool sheriff.
A long time ago, we learned he's going to be in the season.
Yes.
I
I want you to think of the Aftermath series.
Yes.
Do you remember in the Aftermath series, which is canon now, the interludes throughout all 3 books?
Okay.
In the interludes, it would jump back to Tatooine. And there was, every X amount of chapters, there would be an interlude. And it was going through this story, like
the
little
contingency
piece
plan.
by little piece, about a new sheriff on Tatooine named Cobb Vanth.
Okay.
In that story, Cobb Vanth he comes across this thief type of a guy. He doesn't realize he's the new sheriff. They're bartering with some Jawas.
Okay.
Do you remember what they were bartering with that this thief got? And Cobb eventually ended up killing and saying, like, I'm the new sheriff, kills the thief and takes from him.
Wasn't it Darth Vader's lightsaber?
No. Mandalorian armor.
I don't remember that.
Yes.
So he could have he could have Boba Fett's armor.
This is 100% canon.
Yeah.
Cobb Vanth, who they are rumoring is who Timothy Oliphant is going to play, has Mandalorian armor. Most likely Boba Fett's, because it was scavenged by Jawas on Tatooine.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Dude. Then you have the Sheriff Spurs walking up on the dead Finnick.
Yep.
At the end of the Gunslinger episode.
Yep.
Gunslinger, Sheriff.
Following.
Dude, Timothy Oliphant will be in Boba Fett's armor. And he will be Cobb Vanth. And that is going to be what that whole end of the scene thing is, and that will be all the rumors of Boba Fett's alive. It fixes everything.
So what if what if Boba Fett's dead?
I'm fine with Boba Fett being dead.
What?
Dude, it's fine.
Stop.
I don't want him to be dead, but if he's dead and like he just died in the Sarlacc pit and it is what it is.
I just look, my dude never even got to fly, okay?
What if
I just want him to spread his wings and be a peacock.
There's the rumor of Tamora Morrison being in here, whether he's
I want him to be Rex. See, when you're comparing Boba Fett to Rex, forget Boba Fett. I want Rex. I want old man Rex. And I've said this before, Tamora Morrison cannot be Boba Fett because he himself, the actor, is old.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to have Rex is he will be old. Tamora Morrison, but
Boba Fett would be the same.
No, he wouldn't. I've told you this. Boba Fett did not have the growth hormones.
Yes, I know. So he would be at least 50, 60.
But Rex would be way older.
But Tamora Morrison's
older.
not that old.
Yeah, but you give him his gray beard.
I think Tamora Morrison is like 50 or 60.
How old do you think Boba is in Attack of the Clones?
In Attack of the Clones,
11.
Yeah, I would say.
Hey, Boba.
I would say preteen.
Oh, then soy.
Preteen.
Preteen. Dang. I know there's canon information about that. I just don't. Anyway, we're
Anyway,
tangenting.
I
like
think that
I like the
Timothy
sheriff
Oliphant,
thing. Yeah.
Oliphant, however you say his last name,
Yes.
as a sheriff, because also he has a proven track record of being an amazing,
Justified, great show.
westerny
Yes.
sheriff, no nonsense type of a guy.
Yep.
And we know that he got Mandalorian armor from Jawas who scavenged it out of.
Why
they
don't I
didn't say.
remember?
It's
The
it's
interlude.
only interludes, so it's not like every interlude they do this. You know how some books have.
Well, remember my important interlude was the band of children that were the Sith
Yes,
worshippers,
that
and the
took
one
the
kid,
lightsaber.
and he has Darth Vader's lightsaber.
Yeah.
So it's like where's that? You know, like the Aftermath
But
series.
how cool is that of a way to like
oh, I'm all
make
I'm all
important
for it.
this weird little pocket of information in an interlude in a written format that now is being pulled in. That's such a freaking Dave Filoni thing to do.
And maybe he meets him and mistakes him for a Mandalorian because he has Mandalorian armor in Chapter 4.
Or he knows that a Mandalorian killed this chick in his turf. He's the sheriff, and he needs to find out what the heck happened. You can't just go murdering people in my small town.
Yeah, no, true.
I just think I'm so confident that's what it's going to be. It's not going to be Boba Fett walking up on Finnick. It's going to be him in that armor. Whether he has pieces of the armor, I don't know. If he has the full set, who knows? But he is going to have something like, for sure, at least a helmet or a chest piece, and it's going to, like, your split second thinking you're going to be, oh crap, Boba Fett's alive. It's not going to be Boba Fett.
I have to put spurs on my boots for my Mandalorian.
Just for the sound effect.
My new. If you guys don't know, I am currently rebuilding my Mandalorian armor. I am trying to have it done for the premiere, and I am going to uncomfortably sit in my armor for the entire episode, hopefully. But I definitely have to add spurs. Did you want to go through the last point? I feel like we've made so many predictions for season 2 already.
Okay, these are 4 quick ones that are quick yes and no's.
Okay.
Do you think that Baby Yoda will talk?
Yes.
You think it'll like say words?
Yeah, I think we're going to get a word because already, even in the preview when he closes his bassinet, it wasn't just a coo.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he literally closes
Was
it literally sounds like a no, or it sounds legible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second question: how many times do you think the helmet comes off of Din this season?
2. I think they will only add one more additional scene.
So you think they're going to follow the last time? There's going to be definitely 1, and you think there's going to be a second, or do you think there's going to be only 1 more, making a total of 2?
No, I think that this season will give us a total of 3, meaning season 2 will have 2 moments where his helmet is off.
Okay. I don't think it's going to come off at all this season.
I wouldn't mind more scenes where he's alone in the Razor Crest with his helmet
because
off.
of the drama that happened already, I think that it's.
I agree. I'm just saying, as a fan,
Wouldn't
Pedro
mind
Pascal's a good-looking guy. He's an awesome actor.
him
let's do it.
alone, and it's
exactly.
Not breaking the code. It's
just him alone.
Fourth wall breaking the code, but not in the universe breaking the code.
Even yeah, for sure.
Okay, the next quick one. Do you think that
Yes.
there is going to be a clash of lightsabers at some point in this season?
Yes.
So that could be Darksaber included. That could
Darksaber
be-
is technically a lightsaber, and it has to interact with
You
another
think it will
lightsaber.
come in contact against another lightsaber?
Yes.
See, I don't think it will. I think it's going to be in contact with his Beskar, which is known for being to deflect lightsabers.
I think there's too much story building towards space wizards and Jedis for us to not get something. You know,
So you say yes, I say no on that. Because I'm going to make notes of what we say, and then
Okay.
when it's over, we'll just look back and see how right or how wrong
and
we
I
were.
kind of feel like I need to preface this. Is it a more do I want it, or is it a more do I actually think it's going to happen?
I don't think that there's going to be a lightsaber drawn and clashing, making contact.
I think
against another
I think
lightsaber.
that, let me be very specific then. I think that we will see some sort of a duel between Moff Gideon with the Darksaber against somebody, whether it be Din, whoever,
With
that has
another lightsaber.
either a lightsaber or, I mean, even in the Old Republic games, the big giant vibroblade swords could fight against sabers. You know, so
So you're saying there'll be a melee sword battle of some sort?
involving the Darksaber, yes. Whether
Okay.
it's 2 sabers clashing, most likely not.
And then the final one that I wrote down: will Baby Yoda have trained or grown some way in his Force abilities since when season 1 left off?
100%.
Because do you think this is going to kind of like smoothly transition like the end of chapter 8 into season 2 chapter 1, or do you think there'll be a time gap and he'll now be using the Force or practicing with the Force or something? I don't know.
I don't know to what effect he'll be using the Force more, but I've made it clear that I do believe that there's a time jump. The biggest piece of time jump information I feel is Karga himself. His hair is now completely gray, and his beard is completely gray.
He has no facial hair in the first episodes. He's clean shaven,
but his head is not gray.
Yeah, I don't know. I was, because you said that before. I was
back.
watching and I was like, oh, he's clean shaven. Maybe you could be totally right, or it could be just coincidence.
I would like to think that I don't want all Star Wars movies and all Star Wars content has time separation.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that doesn't is the prequel
trilogy,
and that's a whole nother thing. Having time in between allows gaps for other people to come and fill in information, whether it be a book, whether it be comics. I want and believe that there will be a significant time change. I want to say 6 months to a year. That's what I think.
I could see that. I kind of want a couple months to have gone by, I think.
Yeah. 6 months to a year for me. That's what I want.
I think Baby Yoda is not going to have trained, but I think he'll naturally be stronger.
And I think just by the preview, once again, when he's closing his bassinet, I think that's showing a new level of awareness.
Recognition and consciousness, yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I know what Dad's going to do.
Guys, hopefully this was not redundant.
I don't think it is.
I don't think so either.
We have a lot of opinions that have shifted and changed, and I think a lot of other people do also, and not everybody rewatches the first season before the second one starts.
Yeah.
Besides deep fans like us.
Yeah. Super excited. Once again, Mandalorian coverage starts, November 2nd is our first episode. We will be going back to our original model. Russell is coming back for episode 1. We will be doing our recap, and then we will be doing our deep cuts
kind of
per the recap.
Through the recap.
Yep, and of course, we have the studio now. Studio will be changing to fit Mandalorian themes, and then we have so much planned for the Patreon moving after Mandalorian, but we are going to have 8 solid weeks of uninterrupted Mandalorian
Mando content.
And season 3 is confirmed. I can't remember if it...
Jon Favreau confirmed that season 3 will be under production before the end of 2020.
Gotcha.
That was in
huge.
Variety. He quoted that himself.
So that's in the next 2 months.
Yeah, it's under production.
Yeah.
Whether that's scripts being written.
10 weeks.
Yeah.
Something is happening already. Yep. So, guys, super excited. I was your boy. It's KonKon.
And I'm Justin.
And we'll see you next time.
We out.